what events are held over the 3 days? I honestly thought it was just like breaching. You just did a massive breaching thing, but it sounds like you have shoot houses, BJJ stuff, breaching. What's to expect over the 3 days? Soon it's going to be the CrossFit Games, the SWAT. It sounds like.
No doubt. Hey, no doubt. I call it the Catalina Wine Mixer of SWAT events. but hey, it's awesome. Taking 7 distinct events that you should be good at for being on a SWAT team, right? That got you, huh?
Yeah. All right, so we're here with another episode of Whiskey Wednesdays. First Zoom one, joined by Thomas. Is it pronounced Tardo?
Tardo, T-A-R-D-O.
Thomas Tardo out in South Carolina, which is why we're zooming you in. Thomas, can you tell us a little bit about you and your background and what you've kind of sprung up today before we dive all the way into Valkyrie?
Yeah. So I'm from the mountains of North Carolina. Lived there about half my life. And then came here to South Carolina, got into the fire service, loved it. Then joined the military in 2011. It was hard to get on anywhere full-time for a fire department. So joined the military, Fort Bragg, North Carolina, my whole career. Awesome place. And then came back and got on full-time for the city of Greenville Fire Department.
Nice. It's such a nice place out there that you had to go back to South Carolina, huh?
Absolutely. It's halfway in between up north and down south, so it's the perfect mix.
And what are you drinking there for the show?
We got some Horse Soldier. Awesome backstory to Horse Soldier. The metal molds they make, well, it's from the ODA team who went to Afghanistan. But the metal molds they make are from the steel from the Twin Towers on 9/11.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's a veteran-owned company, which definitely awesome to support. And the original story of the 12 Strong, the ODA team in Afghanistan, just a good story. And it was one of those guys who came up with the company, I believe.
That's awesome. I've been trying to get and hoping to get a bottle, hopefully soon, especially for this show. I'm not drinking anything as cool, but probably just as tasty. It's Engine 49 bourbon whiskey from Dry Diggins, which is kind of not too far away from where I live. So long distance, cheers to you, man. Thanks for being here. When you were enlisted, it was enlisted, right?
Yep.
And what were you doing in the service?
So only wanted to join and be airborne infantry. Didn't want to be anything else. And all the infantry, you go to Benning. It's OSIT, which is one-stop unit training. Go through, then you go through airborne school, and then you get assigned your duty station. So I went to Fort Bragg, awesome place. They call it center of the universe. But I loved it there. It was great. And then there I was in an airborne infantry unit. We deployed twice.
Nice.
RC South, RC East. So it was OEF 12, OEF 14. But it was just a lifetime of friends, a lifetime of opportunities. I have nothing good to say about the service. You hear some people say they hate it and it sucked, but I loved every minute of it. And
that's great, man.
I often get asked, hey, why didn't you stay in? Why didn't you retire? I was big on wanting a family. I was about to come up on those drill sergeant orders out of Fort Benning. You have to go, once you become a staff sergeant, you got to have that time, the broadening assignment. So either drill sergeant or recruiter, both of those would have sucked. So, I enjoyed the time I had there at Bragg.
Definitely would have pulled you away from what you were doing. Thanks for your service, man. I appreciate it. So do many others out there. So what are you doing now that you're out? What have you gotten into?
So once I got out, I came back to Greenville, South Carolina, and it was straight from getting out to starting with Greenville City with 1 day in between. I had to drop a job packet to accept the job at Greenville. Wow. Went to Greenville City Fire Department. Great place, great city, great fire department. And it wasn't long after that, I did a forcible entry class for a SWAT team. And as you know, forcible entry is the fire service, breaching is the military and law enforcement. And put on a good class for them. They're like, bro, why don't you do this full time? And I was like, well, I got a good job at Greenville. So that's where kind of Valkyrie started from, was that breaching class.
Okay.
And what I tell people is it's a beautiful mix between military master breacher and fire department forcible entry, making that beautiful weird baby that works. And it's just being good at what you do.
Yeah. So is that a full-time job now? It's Valkyrie Solutions, right? out in South Carolina?
Valkyrie Tactical Solutions, yeah.
Valkyrie Tactical Solutions. And is that a full-time job, or are you doing it on the side of all your fire gig right now? Or
It's definitely a full-time job, but it's a part-time job. So I talked to someone, it might have been you earlier, about just balance, right? Was that you?
Sounds like me.
Sounds like you. But the balance of working a full-time job at the City of Greenville Fire Department, working, as a business owner, and then being a family man, and learning how to balance those three to where, it's hard to run a business, work a full-time job, and be a dad and be a husband.
Yeah.
But figuring out how to balance and kind of getting in that niche has been the key, I guess, to being happy.
So you've got three things going.
I mean, there's a lot more little fires going on, but three main things. If I'm not busy enough, the coordinator for the 9/11 Memorial Stair Climb for Greenville City.
Jeez. So
every year we do a huge climb in honor of the all those who fallen during 9/11.
That's really cool, man.
It hits home. It means a lot.
Yeah.
It's a big event, especially being a firefighter and then being in the military, and just everybody who died, and that just 9/11 still hits home for me. And so it's an impactful event, and all the money raised goes to the families up in New York City for PD.
That's awesome. So can people jump online and do yearly donations or whatever once that thing kicks off?
So we push for sponsorship, and we have some great sponsors who get on board for that. But then you can sign up to climb. So you climb the equivalent of 110 floors. We used to do it in the Landmark building, which is the tallest building around in the upstate. And we started doing, after COVID, the stadium. So Greenville Drive has a baseball stadium.
Mm-hmm.
And it was easy just to climb up and down the stadium stairs.
Okay.
And it worked out great. People loved it because they could sit in the arena and support their families, support their friends. Sponsors loved it. So overall, it just became a big event just downtown. And every year it's a lot. But preparing for that, we have a good committee, good team that kind of helps out. And it's something I love doing every year.
That's really cool. And I heard you also run the breaching Olympics or something like that for firefighters.
So it hasn't rolled out to firefighters yet, but for SWAT teams, we do the Breacher's Alley.
Okay.
Which would be like the Olympics of breaching for them, but lining up a bunch of different doors, and they have to just bypass them. So we teach level 1, level 2, level 3 breaching for the company, but having that aspect during the SWAT competition or SWAT challenge is really testing your breacher, because I can't emphasize enough why breaching is one of the most important jobs on the team. If you can't get into the objective, you're not going to complete the mission. Yes. So, we push emphasis on you got to have a breacher, you got to have a backup breacher, you got to have another breacher. So that plan A, B, and C, we talk about PACE plans, right? So just having those plans into place, knowing how to get through and get to your objective, and a big series of doors where you have to use your mind, get through different things from bolt cutters and everything you normally carry. So bolt cutters, rams, are your basic, and then your Halligan work. A lot of people are still weak on Halligan work, but using your mechanical advantage, and that's something the fire department does an amazing job at with forcible entry. Yeah. And now you're rolling that to the tactical environment. So I remember in the military, our Halligan sucked. It was that Blackhawk Halligan bar that has real thick adds. Everything's just thick and doesn't fit in the jam right, and that's what a lot of law enforcement has right now. So it's really putting the right tools in their hand and getting a beautiful pro bar Halligan that's 30 inches and the adds are shaved down and it can fit in the door, and they see the difference. They're like, wow, and that's something simple to introduce to law enforcement. And then just everything else. So building onto those skills, ballistic breaching, using a shotgun, how to properly do it, which everybody loves shotgun stuff.
Oh, who doesn't love shotguns?
The saw work. So I love saws. When I went through breaching in the military and fire department stuff, you talk about your saws, or those heavy ass K-12 saws that are gas powered. They're loud. They're small engines, which never work when you need them to. There's a lot of maintenance on them. So a lot of teams are used to this. A lot of old school SWAT guys who really they're the foundation of a lot of SWAT teams. They're the guys who stood up their teams, their tactical teams at their law enforcement agencies, and that's all they know.
Yeah.
So putting newer tools in their hands and saying, hey, check out this battery operated DeWalt K9 where it's, battery powered. It's power on demand. You don't have to crank it up and let it run in the yard and everybody hears it. You can have that charger in the Bearcat or in the armored vehicle. So everything's just a lot easier and a lot, lighter and easier to carry. And just the way we're going with newer tools and newer techniques and tactics is the key. Is just our saying at Valkyries are only good as your last objective.
Oh yeah, that's super smart.
It's not hanging your hat on legacy. You have a lot of dudes who have done cool shit in their past, but we can cuss on here, right?
Yeah, whatever you want to say.
Thank God.
We're already drinking, dude. We're age restricted, so you're good.
Thank God. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people who live off legacy, but you're only good as your last objective. So it doesn't matter what you've done. What matters is how you put it into place, how you train other people and pass it on to the next generation, how you apply it to your team and yourself. And we tell people team above self. So a lot of just basic skills and be a good dude is our foundation.
Yeah, you're going to be dead in the water if you're not growing. If you're
Absolutely
operating off legacy, I mean, you're already shooting yourself in the foot. You're behind the game. And you said most teams are already using ads and stuff. I mean, I'm out in California on a SWAT team, and we just got introduced to using the ads tool. We had never used it before, and how simple it was and how effective it was to get through a door. We actually teamed up with Chuck Ferry, a guy out here. I think Chuck. He's probably talking to you on the phone.
Good dude.
His forcible entry course we went through, and it blew my mind how simple it was, because I mean, they hand us a ram or a pick, and we would try our best to get through a door. And, fortunately for myself, every time I came across a door that I had to go into, I could get through it with a ram or a pick.
Yeah.
But he put us in front of doors that we're likely to run into. Yep. And I had never seen in my career on the team, out in the real world. And once he put us in front of that, I was like, you're going to have to show me how to get through this. This ram's not working. I hit it 15 plus times. This door's not opening. What can I do?
Yeah, and that's awesome.
Showed us the ads work, and I was like, this is insane. How is this not a tool that we're using more? And so we've definitely adapted it into our training and made it a part of what we're doing now.
And I love to see progression, man. Traditionally we've seen the biggest guy on the team with the ram and just, the hammer to the nail solution and say, you just got to beat the shit out of it until the door opens.
Yep.
And then, you're compromised after the third hit, right? So it's used, as you said, using that ads work, that mechanical advantage of 15-1, and how you don't have to apply that much. Or we know that on commercial buildings they're going to have outward swinging doors because that's fire code.
Yeah.
So those little nuggets of information you can give a SWAT team and give the breachers, and how, we talk about size up. We ask the breachers, hey, when does your size up on a door start? And, oh yeah, when we get there, nah. Well, even before the call out, if you pre-plan, know your area, know your high target places, you can do a pre-plan there, which firefighters are awesome at.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, the building, the layout, because it's a high value target area that you've already done your walkthrough with the team. And that's all just stuff that's great for team life. Is, hey, one day for training, let's go around, check out different buildings, check out schools, check out churches, check out any big businesses or large arenas where, hey, there could be an active shooter or acts of violence call. And the layout, the building, how to get in, what the back door looks like, that there's Knox box. That's a new concept for law enforcement too, or Knox boxes, where the firefighters have the key to the master keys of the building.
Yeah. Out here, we luckily have a Knox key for everywhere. It's I just call it the key to the city. Every gate, same key.
That's amazing.
You mentioned something that I wanted to kind of dive into, but man, I'm blanking. So kind of walk me through, you came out of the military, you get into fire, you run a breaching training, and all of a sudden, is that when Valkyrie Tactical Solutions was born? And if so, where has it grown to now?
So, hey, great question. So I always say about Valkyrie saved me, man. Getting out of the military, I still miss it. I miss it every single day. But you can tell I still definitely have a fire for it. I love it. But being able to take Valkyrie and still do cool shit and train people and continue that legacy where you're only good as your last objective, and to put the right tools in people and the right training. So, as you know, Valkyrie decide who live and who die in battle, right? They carry the slain to Valhalla, where they drink and fight for eternity, which is badass. But with the right training, you can live and fight forever. So that's kind of our aspect is, hey, we're gonna bust ass, we're gonna train hard, we're gonna do good, realistic, challenging training. When we talk about stress inoculation, and that's everything Valkyrie's kind of formed around is not just BS check the box training, but hey, we're gonna get in there and we're gonna push you, and you should see how far you can push yourself and push your guys, and where are their breaking points, and how do they perform under stress? Because if I can push stress in a controlled environment, then you're going to perform that much better, on your objective. So it started with the breaching class, and then we did a lot of medical classes, because even as an infantry, an infantryman, everybody had to be good at medical. So even though we had a platoon doc, you still have to be good at medical, because you can't always rely on your medic, and that's what we push to teams. Is everybody on a SWAT team should be, have TECC or TCCC. Because not always doc, doc isn't always a solution. Just like for law enforcement, SWAT's not always a solution.
Yeah,
so,
like our team, speaking on that, it's like our TAC medic may sit in, a safe environment, maybe in our armored vehicle, and if we have multiple, they'll probably be staged around wherever we're working. But they're not going to be through the door with us. And if something happens once we make entry through the door and we're somewhere in a building, or maybe it's right upon entry, it's like you may take something and go down, and you may be the only one that knows, and you got to do it yourself. Or maybe your partner knows, he can start doing buddy care and stabilize you until it's clear enough to where they can either get you out or bring a medic to you. And
exactly,
you never know how long that time is.
As fucked up as dispatches or communications, there's always a gap, right? Communications are always the downside. So we're not on the same platform of communication for EMS, fire, police. Somebody goes down, there's that delay. Is it clear to enter? Are they safe to enter? So as you said, you need to know how to save yourself, save your buddy. And it goes on from there. Self-care, buddy care.
So you got a breaching class, med classes. I saw online you also offer like active shooter readiness courses.
So the definitely proud of that is with all the active shooter stuff too. We were kind of the first to help spearhead the county. So getting a formal county SOP, I was proud to be part of that, and I was honored to be part of that. Is taking something that's been hard to do traditionally is to get everybody on the same playing field for a county is hard.
Yeah.
Because I call it the sandbox rule, right? Everybody in the sandbox, nobody likes to play along. Nobody likes to play together. Everybody wants to be king. They did a great job in Spartanburg County. We got the sheriff's department, the police department, EMS, dispatch, everybody on the same page, emergency management, to where we all sat down, we met, we talked about, hey, what needs to happen? What are our objectives? How can we come together? We had somebody from North American Rescue come in, since that's right here in Greenville County.
Nice.
And they sat in on it, and they were like, bro, I've been all around the country, and this is probably top 5 with you guys spearheading how it should be. Because I call it bridging the gap, right? Everybody wants to do their own thing active shooter wise, but that's not where things go wrong. They go wrong, in the military we call it a CAR, combined arms rehearsal. And that's where everybody sits around a table and you talk about your piece of the pie, and that's what we don't do across America. Everybody is so proud of what they do, but it's when you do multi-agency training is where you really figure stuff out. And, you can be the best police department in the world and talk about active shooter and how you're the contact team, but then we need to be rescue task force. Are you used to having a principal? Are you used to that guardian angel mindset to where now you're a security team? You're not you're not assaulting through the objective, and you have people in the middle of you to worry about. Are you used to communicating with them, moving people who are unarmed? So it's a whole different aspect, and it's truly when you work together is where you find stuff out.
Yeah, and can you float between each position? Like, are you humble enough to be like, hey, typically I'm the one running and gunning and kicking doors, but now we need you to be security or sentry and pushing an RTF, and you're just rolling with firefighters and you're running in, running out. As they're grabbing people or stabilizing it on place, moving to the next, maybe that's what you get.
And I tell them, I'm like, hey guys, I get it. It sucks. Everybody wants to be on the gun. And, I call it moth to light syndrome, right? You see it. We talk about in the Army going through your LOA, and everybody has their sector of fire, but everybody wants to be on that kill shot, but you can't. You have to stay in your lane. You got to know your job. And I get it. Being a security element for an RTF team is not what you want to do, but it's so vital because you're saving lives. Because your contact team, you're just stepping over bodies. Their only job is to, march to the sound of gunfire, eliminate the threat. So yeah, RTF teams, get in there and save lives. That's stop the dying. That's their main objective, and you got to really preach them and sell them on why that's so important.
Man, I totally understand the whole role of being security. I mean, I did 4 years in the Air Force, and that wasn't my choice. So my whole job, man, as security forces was being security for the third most important building in the world. And all I wanted to do was be in the Army and be infantry or be in the Marines. Yeah. And my wife was like, nope.
Thanks, honey.
Yeah. It's like the military was a no. And I was like, hey, last shot, babe, I could be in the Air Force. And they never do anything. And she went, all right, if you need to go in that bad, you could do that.
Hey, compromise, right?
Yeah, we definitely know who the boss is in my family. It's
household 6.
Yeah. So, dude, Valkyrie Solutions sounds awesome, and it sounds like you got a ton of stuff going on with it. I gotta ask before we keep diving into it, what rank or position are you within your fire department? Because it sounds like Valkyrie is a huge piece of what's going on in your life. And I kind of imagine you being still like an entry-level spot because there's so much going on at this other job. But, dude, I feel like you're going to surprise me and tell me you're like a captain or something.
So that would be amazing. But I recently became a lieutenant and the ship training officer. So.
Oh, Lee. Oh, not a captain, maybe just a step down at the lieutenant.
So, yeah, my life's not busy now.
You're probably busier as the lieutenant than the captain because, from the top down, dude, they're telling the captain what to do, and you're just like, hey, I got a bunch of lieutenants that can do all that.
I'm pretty much now. We all work great together. It's been a good transition, but something I learned a long time ago was you need to be in the position and own it when you're there. So when I'm at Greenville, that's the only focus. Not worried about Valkyrie while I'm there. When I'm home, I worry about being home and try not to worry about anything else. So that's the balance that took me a while, and I'm glad that it did take me over 6 years to move up to lieutenant at Greenville City because that helped. I have 17 years total in the fire service.
Wow.
But it's important to earn your spot. So not going in Greenville and automatically being like, well, I've been in the fire service 17 years. I've been an officer. I'm training officer at, this other fire department. No, it's earn your spot just like everybody else. So I'm glad that that transition period where I did learn to how to balance time more. And as I said, when I'm there, I'm there. I'm focusing on shift training, focusing on, my crew being lieutenant. And what we tell everybody is, hey, we're going to be the best crew. We're going to be the best truck, the best station, the best shift. That'll roll into being the best fire department. And it's all about being proud of who you are and whose you are. So when I'm home, if I'm a day off, I say the day off, but my 2 days off of the fire department, you work 24, you're off 48 where we're at. And the 2 days I'm off during the week, I work Valkyrie during the daytime, and then I pick up kids. And then from that time period of picking up kids, getting home, cooking dinner, cleaning up, putting them to bed, that's all family life. And then after that, after they go to bed, I work on Valkyrie stuff. So preparing for this SWAT challenge, I've been up to like 3 a.m. every night, just working, trying to push out products. Jeez. But yeah, man, just give and take where you can.
It's funny hearing you say you have a day off. It's definitely no off time.
So the weekends I try to take it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So over at Valkyrie, you got the breaching, the self-aid buddy care or medical classes, TCCC. You have your active shooter readiness courses. Do you offer anything else?
Yeah, we customize a lot of stuff to, even though we cover a lot and we do a lot, a lot of the active shooter stuff, unified command scenarios, we do first aid and CPR, all that. along with that active threat is like church security. We've done a couple security side assessments where we've come to a business and checked their vulnerabilities. Words are hard right now.
Yeah. It's that whiskey.
That whiskey talk. But, we've enjoyed that. But we customize stuff whatever the client's need is. So a lot of the times they'll come up and say, hey, can you guys do this? And be like, yeah, absolutely. Let's put something together. One of my favorite classes, we flew all the way up to right near Detroit, Michigan, and did a Thames class, which is a tactical EMS, and it's training SWAT medics, and that was awesome.
That sounds really cool.
Another one of my favorite classes we do is K9 TECC. So there's an awesome instructor in South Carolina, and let me go back a little bit, but you're also only as good as your team. So we surround ourselves with the best instructors, and I'm lucky that we have the team that we have, and that's what makes Valkyrie. That's what makes Valkyrie so good. I tell people all the time, it's not Thomas trying to teach everything to everybody. It's putting the aces in its places, putting the right people there, the right instructors, the right cadre, and that's why we're so successful. So it's not me. I'm more of a tactician, but it's having those people in there that know the job, that are experts in their job. So with the medical aspect, we have a chief medical instructor, and that's Corey Outen. He's with South Carolina National Guard. He's been with them forever. He's a lot of the training for South Carolina, but he heads up our medical aspect. And we also have Shane Himes out of Mount Pleasant, who's jam up. And both of those guys are just the best at what they do. They're both combat medics for the National Guard. Shane started a K9 TCC, and he leads the way in South Carolina, where his agency and around there in Mount Pleasant, they're pushing drugs to dogs in the field, which is amazing. So something happens to a dog, he's already worked with vet clinics, worked with his medical director to where they can sedate a dog, and that's what you need if you have a canine injury. Just focusing on the point of injury, point of care to getting them to that definitive care. So he's got a 2-day class that we stay busy with. We go all over the state. People want us out of state yet, but we're not ready to travel our K9 team out of state.
Yeah.
But it's awesome, man. I love doing that. It's an awesome class. We have another instructor that just came on board who has a career full of being a K9 handler and K9 medical stuff. So it's, once again, the team. Law enforcement is Nolan Brewer. He's a jam up officer. He's a lot of SWAT experience, a lot of law enforcement experience, but what they bring to the table really is what pushes us, and I call that our core cadre.
Yeah,
are those guys.
That's really cool.
Big Valkyrie.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. To see you guys are growing that much. That kind of leads me into my next question. It sounds like you're doing it 2 days or more a week, possibly. So when you're not there, like, what's your employee or employment look like over at Valkyrie Tactical Solutions?
So they're like private contractors, right? They right now, until we become just a lot more steady, is when we have a job that they come on, they teach, and they get paid for that job. So we don't have anybody besides myself who's full-time in the office or full-time doing anything else. But ultimately, my 5-year plan is I would love to have a facility, love to where people can be there and teach, and just a lot more full-time positions or part-time positions to where they stay busy with it. Right now, it's as busy as we want it to be, which is also a good thing. Is with how busy life is figuring out where you can slot classes, how busy you want to be, but it's still pretty steady.
So, do you guys have a training location, or are you using a lot of spaces that you maybe rent out?
So we're 100% mobile right now. We have a trailer, so we can deliver classes anywhere. So we travel all around, which is good because right now we go a lot in Richland County, which Columbia is the capital of South Carolina. So we're in Richland County a lot. We travel all over the upstate, travel out to the beach. So we do a lot all over the state. So it's a good thing right now that we are mobile. We don't have any overhead of being stationary.
Okay.
So that's the good thing for Valkyrie.
Nice. So, Thomas, you're saying you guys are mobile, just kind of rocking out of the trailer. Are you just mobile within your county, or are you mobile within the entire state of South Carolina?
We're honestly mobile within the U.S. So
Oh, sweet.
uh, even though we travel, we do most everything in state. Still having those options like when we went to Michigan, which is awesome. We have places right now, some quotes out to Mississippi, Alabama, Florida. So hopefully we can go there. We've been working with two agencies out of Georgia, so hopefully seeing this expand is going to be awesome. Definitely would love to get out to the West Coast.
And how long have you been getting after it as Valkyrie Tactical Solutions?
Officially since 2014.
Okay. Did you expect to
No, I'm
see?
sorry. I'm sorry, 2016.
Okay, so 6 years coming on 7 years.
Yeah.
Did you expect to see this much growth and this much expansion?
No, so I honestly it was a hobby at first where it's hey, I love doing it. It's fun, but it's just cool to see it expand. It's cool to see the our instructors and our cadre who love teaching, getting in their element. The fact that what Valkyrie gives them and how they take pride in the company, and that just amazes me every time. Just how much, I mean, I don't want to say hope, but how much just enjoyment people get out of Valkyrie. And then on the flip side, the people that you're teaching and training, how they're taking it and the positive things they're saying and how it affects them. And after you teach a class, you hearing somebody come up and be like, "Hey, we saw a gunshot victim and we're putting chest seals on and wound pack," and you're like, "Man, that's awesome."
That's really cool.
So it's cool hearing stories like that and knowing that hey, maybe we can save a life, maybe we can teach somebody just enough to make a difference.
So, is it like your goal to one day have like a facility to do all this in, or are you wanting to stay as mobile as you are?
I would love to. I think the secret for us is being mobile, but I do want to definitely have a facility over time. I mean, you need that headquarters, right, to
Yeah.
where you anchor for where you're at. Um, you can stick stuff there locally, have just local training, but ultimately, I do want to go just more mobile and kind of loosely base our business plan off Blackwater.
Oh,
Loose,
nice.
loosely.
Who are they? No,
Who?
they disappeared, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Who?
That'd be really cool. It's also a cool idea that most of your instructors are just contracted in. So
Yeah,
it kind of takes a little bit of headache and work off of you. And these guys get to come in and do a lot of awesome stuff with it sounds like you've assembled a really good group of guys, a group of cadres
yeah,
to make a really awesome team.
absolutely. They definitely make it, and they enjoy what they're doing. And of course, hopefully we'll get busier and busier, and they can get as much work as they want. We can grow our team even more. We have a lot of people that we hit up just depending on. We have a sniper who's still in the military. He comes out and teaches. We have a couple of guys in the old special operations world who they came out and they come out and teach every once in a while. So we have a good pool of people, and that's one of the cool things about the military is, especially with group guys, with airborne guys. I know we can easily select like-minded individuals who have that same teaching methodology, who aren't hard to be like, hey, this is what we do, this is why we do it, and all sync together on how we train. And that's big, is having the same mindset and the same way we teach.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we look for in our team. So we're always expanding, always looking for more cadre. And it's cool, like this big event, this big S.W.A.T event coming up, just all the people that come in and make it happen. So it definitely, I say it takes a village, and it truly does. There's a lot of people who make the S.W.A.T challenge happen, who come in from lane runners to running, running live fire ranges, to all the specialized courses that we do within this challenge. Paul Heats owns Controlled Chaos Tactics. Awesome dude. He's a career group guy. He got out a whole career of special forces, and he's a wealth of knowledge. He's an older guy, has his shit together. As I said, is a plethora of knowledge. And even though he owns his company, we still have same ideas, like-minded dudes that we're always getting together, and it's always good to drink and share ideas, and we support each other's business.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you if he drank whiskey because
Oh
he'd
yeah,
be a fun guy to talk to on the show.
definitely need him on the show. It'd be awesome.
Um, when is that like big SWAT event you guys are holding?
Next week.
Dang. And how many teams do you expect to show up?
So, it's always one more. This is only the second year we've been doing the SWAT challenge. It's only 6 teams right now, but as I said, every year it gets bigger and better. A lot of a lot of excuses of teams not wanting to do it, and as I said, they're excuses where if you want to be there, you're going to be there, right? You're going to find a reason to be there. Kind of let down how many teams make excuses of why they can't be there. I think at the end of the day, people are scared of failure, and you're the best unless you're challenged, right? So the teams that want to be there, I have nothing but great things to say about them. The 2 teams out of Georgia are Georgia Department of Corrections, who they're hungry. They have a TRT team who are eager to get there and learn and train and compete. You have North Metro, which is right above Atlanta, another awesome team out of Georgia. Jam of guys, they came last year.
They win last year?
No, they didn't win. The winners of last year were Greenville County.
Are they coming back?
Jam up team. They're coming back to defend the title. And everybody who came last year absolutely loved it. Nothing but good things to say. Spartanburg City SWAT team, they're coming back. They were there last year. Great group of guys. We worked with them a lot. And they have their shit together. Great team. Chester County, who's another great team where, hey, at first I think they were newer, but they were eager to get there, and they did awesome. They were on point. All the operators there were jam up. And Anderson County is joining us this year. So this will be their first year, and there's no doubt they're going to love it and come back. But the coolest thing is you have all these alpha teams, these spearheaded people where everybody's leaving their ego at the door. Your teams are getting together. People are focusing on the camaraderie and just brotherhood, which is awesome. I wasn't sure what to think last year, getting all these people together. I was like, man, they're going to be bitching and fighting. But they did good, man. Loaning each other gear if they had to. But just that one place where you can share tactics, ideas, you're a bunch of like-minded individuals at that same spot. It just turned out to be great. And we added a day from last year. So last year, we only had 2 days for the challenge. And we called it a competition last year. So we changed the name to challenge to be less intimidating for some teams. But they loved it. I mean, down to we have this thing called the pit. It's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu instructors who whoop your ass for 3 minutes, and they loved it. One of the biggest guys on the team last year from Atlanta. He's a wall of a dude. Came back grinning ear to ear, all just muddy, looking like he got drugged through the ringer. He was like, "Bro, that was awesome." He said, "I had this squirrely on my back for like 3 minutes, wearing me out," and it's awesome. And they tell you they're not there to embarrass you. They're not there to hurt you, but they are there to give you that realistic training where if you're in law enforcement, you need to be good at grappling. That's something we did. We did combatives in the military and combatives Fridays to where you need to have that warrior mindset. You need to be good at taking the fight to the ground. And more than ever now, if you're law enforcement, you need to know how to fight. So especially going into, it might be the fight of your life. Then on the flip side to where everything isn't, lethal, right? So knowing how to fight, knowing how to grapple is imperative. So taking that aspect and putting in the SWAT challenge was awesome. And this team of 8 from High Performance Gym are just jam up dudes who love BJJ and who are good at it and love training law enforcement. So it works.
Nice. So what? Diving into now the almost SWAT Olympics, I want to call it. What events are held over the 3 days? I honestly thought it was just like breaching. You just did a massive breaching thing, but it sounds like you have shoot houses, BJJ stuff, breaching. What's to expect over the 3 days? Soon it's going to be the CrossFit Games of SWAT. It sounds like.
No doubt. Hey, no doubt. I call it the Catalina Wine Mixer of SWAT events. But hey, it's awesome. Taking 7 distinct events that you should be good at for being on a SWAT team, right? That got you, huh?
Yeah. All I'm going into is selling helicopters, and there's something about your face I don't like.
Something about your face.
Just pow.
Hey, buy me a drink, man. No, but so Catalina Wine Mixer SWAT events. Yeah. But it's awesome. So taking 7 distinct events that you should be good at being on a SWAT team, and a lot of them is not just us reaching out there just picking shit out of our imagination. You go off NTOA standards, right? So if you're on a SWAT team, you should be good at. And hey, you'd be surprised at how many teams bitched about running an O course, right? Oh, we don't run. You need to have the endurance. So that's like taking your top tier people in the military. They PT their ass off, right? I mean, you take your favorite sports team, they PT their ass off. So this isn't. It's something where a lot of places, they're entitled or they feel like they don't have to earn it, but you need to be physically in shape. And it goes to where, hey, when the adrenaline's hitting, to where I get it. You're not running all over the place. Got it. You're hitting your objective, but you need to have the stamina and the mental and physical toughness to push on. So the O course was important for that. Also seeing how your team holds up, when you're tired and on edge. Are you guys pulling together as a team or are you falling apart? So that's why we want to have the O course. The BJJ thing, fighting, is another aspect we thought, hey, was very important. At first, when we first were talking about it, teams were like, well, how are you going to grade that? Well, we're not. You're just going to have 3 minutes to where you get your ass whooped. So it's that physical endurance, right? After the O course, you do team rappel, which you'd have, surprisingly, had a lot of teams like, well, we don't rappel. All right, I get it. But once again, if you follow those NTOA standards and you need to learn how to rappel to be on a team, it's not something you do a lot as a SWAT team. I got it. It's that cool guy shit. But knowing how to rappel, having that tool in the toolbox where, can you really call yourself a tier 1 SWAT team if you don't rappel? No, you can't. So for teams that don't rappel, we have the workshop the day before where they go through the class. We teach them how to rappel. We talk about gear and about options, about lowering devices, whether you're using 8 or a lowering descent device, harnesses, rope, tying anchors. You do all of that and incorporating that to where we have military rappel masters and fire department rescue techs. Wow. So we're there to really teach and train more than a competition. That's what we tell people is, hey, it's not just a competition. Each lane has a certain time allotted. So if you do what you need to do in that lane, so let's say rappelling, if you have an hour to get your team through the rappelling portion and you do it in 10 minutes, guess what? That 50 minutes is training time now, to where you can get other guys of your team to rappel. You can talk about stuff. You can talk about or try new things. Your time portion stopped when you completed your task, which I love that aspect. Another one is the best medic portion, which is awesome. And, this year it's called Doc's Proving Grounds, where, he's a sadistic fucker it's just busting their ass. But it's going to be awesome. It's the whole stress inoculation. Can you do your job under stress, under pressure, just like you do for Army combat medics? I know we put our medic through the ringer. Our platoon medic was just put him through the ringer. And because of that, he was a better medic, right? But that same mentality. We have a best sniper portion, which is exciting. And that's a whole nother can of worms too. A lot of people are like, oh, in the law enforcement, we only 80 meters is max. So, okay, cool. But that's a designated marksman, not a sniper. If you're going to call yourself a sniper, you need to know your weapon capabilities. You need to know how to reach out and touch somebody, how far you can push it. So there's a lot more to know about being a sniper than a designated marksman.
Sounds like you got some city folk over there sitting behind a sniper rifle. And I mean, I know I'm from California, but we're out in the country, man. Our snipers are like often shooting like 700 to 1,000 and probably over 1,000 sometimes.
That's awesome.
I'm like, California, there's a little country out here.
Yeah.
Everybody believes that we're just like a surf town and a bunch of cities, and we want you to think that, so you kind of stay away from our little slices of heaven out in the mountains.
No, that's awesome, dude. Then, yeah. I mean, but still in a city, you have skyscrapers, you have high rises, to where are you on a building shooting from rooftop to rooftop or from window to window? Are there crosswinds? There's a lot of stuff you got to figure into where there's a lot to being a sniper. And that's why we always bring in somebody who specializes, because I'm not going to be Thomas telling you how to, I'm good at long shooting, but I'm not a sniper. So It's not gonna be Thomas trying to bullshit you and be like, "Oh, I'll tell you guys some snipers." No, we're gonna have somebody who's the best at what they do. And this year, I'm excited. We have a guy from he's from Night Force Optics, but he was in 175, so 75th Ranger Regiment, and was a sniper. Badass dude. He's gonna run the sniper line.
That'll be awesome.
So once again, all about putting your aces in your places, right? We have a guy named Sean from Element Rescue who's doing the rappelling portion. Once again, the best at what he does. So I love being able to have these instructors in these positions who can excel and who just do amazing work. The Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu instructors, nobody better to be in the pit than those guys, right?
Yeah.
Another one is the best medic. So we have our lead medical instructor, Corey, is going to run that. But we also teamed up with Techline Trauma. So they'll be there as a sponsor. And they're the ones with all those like $100,000 mannequins, all the those super expensive mannequins that move and squirt blood and do cool shit. They're going to be there. So they're teaming up and helping deliver that best medic portion. There's a CQB lane. So once again, that's going to be Paul and Brewer who run that. But the CQB lane is something you need to be good at. So with being SWAT. We did hostage rescue last year, but not every team does hostage rescue. So that's why we took that away.
No, put it back. That's like, I have a feeling with the way the world's going that soon that'll be the only reason why teams may get called out is for HRTs.
But if you look at your NTOA standards, your TRT teams can't go for hostage rescue. They have to wait for a larger team to come in and deliver that. So it's kind of one of those things, and I think Paul hit it, where we got to focus on the basics. Everybody wants to do the cool shit, wants to do the hostage rescues, but how are you in CQB? If you're garbage in the basics, you need to focus on that before you're talking about coming in and
I don't know
rescue a hostage.
I'd almost say leave it in, because if you look at just like active shooters, and if even Valkyrie's training that's just a whole lot of hostages that you're running in for. I mean, I can see why you take it out, but I'd be like, hey, if like the top two teams they're fighting for the title, it's like, okay, now let's see how you do HRT.
I like that. I like it. The what else? Did I go over 7? I don't know. They all blur together right now. Let me see. Did I leave out anything?
So what do they get if they win? Is it a belt? They get a hoist a belt? They get a trophy?
So they get a big trophy. Once again, those bragging rights of being the best SWAT team, best South Carolina SWAT team. And then a lot of teams, like a lot of sponsors, are throwing in stuff for their prize packages.
Nice.
So we have we've got a load of sponsors this year, and a lot of people are just sponsors by donating supplies or items. So Daniel Defense is going to be there. Super excited. So they're bringing some weapon platforms. They're going to have stuff where the snipers can see new sniper rifles. Just teams to see new weapon platforms. I think and everybody kind of helps with those winning prizes. Techline Trauma. Hamatro is do you know Hamatro for fire rescue stuff?
No.
They do a lot of rescue tools, so a lot of the new hydraulics and hydraulics are all Hamatro stuff, but they have a whole tactical line, so they're bringing in some hydraulic and hydraulic equipment for tactical stuff. We have people bringing in saws, everything from Bottom Line Military Sales, who does their largest contract is Fort Bragg. So the easiest way I got, that their company, I was like, what exactly do you do? If somebody needs 100 duffel bags for deployment, or 800 duffel bags for deployment, they call Bottom Line Military Sales, and they get them. So they do a lot of contract work like that. Element Rescue is the one doing the rappel. Control Chaos Tactics is Paul, who will be there supporting. Night Force Optics is running the sniper lane, so we're excited about that.
Nice.
High Performance Gym has all the fighters and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu instructors. Carolina Tactics Group is a local law enforcement officer. He's awesome. Aaron, he owns three of those guys run this Carolina Tactics. They're all local law enforcement, but they do a podcast. And Jam Up Podcast, check it out. It's CTG Nation. Harrison's is doing all the shirts for the event. So all the shirts for the SWAT event, Harrison's is going to supply them. They're Jam Up. They're going to be tan this year with the logo. So you're going to have the Master SWAT logo on the front. And then on the back, the Ragnarok is the competition name. So all the names for the challenger on the back.
That would be cool.
And then we have all those little ones supporting the event, like 511 Tactical will be throwing in stuff. Crate Tactical will be throwing in stuff, which do what does they do? The steel targetry is what Crate Tactical does.
Mm-hmm.
So it's AR 500 steel. Budweiser of Spartanburg donated water. I wish they donated Budweiser, but they donated water.
Is it the same thing?
Hey man, I don't mind good cheap beer.
Hey, we all drink it because it hydrates all of us.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
It's delicious. The yeah, everything from Gulf States distribution, combined systems, but everybody's supporting in a piece of the element. So getting flashbangs, getting simunition rounds. There's just so much support to make this event happen, which I'm thankful for.
And that's really cool, especially for it only being your second year. It sounds like you've landed a lot of sponsors, and hopefully you see a lot of growth going into next year.
Yeah, and these things, I don't think anybody realizes just how much they cost to put on with all the food and the volunteers and all the breached equipment you have to have. I mean, there's a lot going on to expenses to make this run. So we try to keep costs down for team as much as we can. So make it to where it's not a profitable event. We tell people we're not a nonprofit company, but this event is not for profit. Mm-hmm. It's for, pushing out that good information, good need competition. And I'm sole believer in competition breeds improvement, right? So getting these teams out, getting these like-minded individuals out to compete and get better, share ideas and tactics.
I kind of want to get my team out there because I think that trophy should sit on the West Coast for a while.
Hey, come on out, man. It's good. We'd love to have you out.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So, Thomas, with all the stuff you're doing with being a firefighter, running Valkyrie Tactical Solutions, the SWAT stuff, the 9/11 memorials, like everything, what would you say your biggest takeaway is, or the best feeling you get from running these things?
Honestly, the best feeling I get from running them is knowing what I expect of the agency that's going to be protecting my family. So trying to be as family oriented as I can is, hey, I expect this level of service for my family. So if I'm at work at Greenville City, the fire department covering or the law enforcement agency covering, they should be jam up. I expect them to, right? So that's what I want for my family. And, we always talk about putting them first. My crew is, that's our saying is, putting them first and, realizing why you're in the job that you're in it.
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome. You sound like a really humble, selfless kind of guy, and you're doing a lot of selfless work out there. You're giving up a lot of time to get a lot of stuff accomplished. Justin and I on this end, we host the Gear and Beer show. We do this Whiskey Wednesday show. Both of them have turned into a very first responder, veteran dominant audience, which we love, and we're really being geared in that direction. And we're getting more and more fans. The subscriber ratio isn't showing that yet, so hopefully people are subscribing. But what could we do as a show or even as a fan base to help you guys over at Valkyrie Tactical Solutions further kind of your mission as to put others before yourself almost?
I think you're doing it, honestly. You guys are bad. It's an awesome show. It's been an honor to be part of it. But you're giving veterans a chance to talk about what they do, which is cool. But I think, emphasize on putting them first, right? Because I know when I first went through being in this as long as we have, right? When I first went through, they tell you some bullshit like, hey, it's me first and then my partner and then them. And, that's bullshit. It's putting them first is why we do it. Everybody who died in the 9/11 towers, they went in, right? They went up. People who deploy, or you're not deploying for yourself. Best way I heard it, especially with all the BS with Afghanistan, we busted ass over there. We lost, lost a lot of friends, and some people saying, oh, well, it was all for nothing. I believe the opposite. I believe that the U.S. Army or the U.S. military is an away team, right? We do our best work over there, and keeping the war over there because we don't want that war here in the United States. So. Trying to be an optimist on everything, it helps a lot. It's realizing why you're doing it and then selling to your team. I call it the shipyard theory, right? the owner of the shipyard tells you what boat you're having, what crew you're having, what route you're going, the cargo you're going to carry. But as the captain of that boat, you decide whether it sinks or floats, right? So you control the morale of that boat. You control the morale of your crew, getting their buy-in of why you're doing it and why it's so important, putting that mission first. So taking the military mindset and just rolling that out to emergency services, I think is huge.
Yeah, it's like what I say, when the bullets start flying or fire, when the fire kicks off, 99% run away and only that 1% gear up to run towards it.
Right.
And dude, even when I ask you that question, it's like the most selfless answer. It's like, just being on the show's enough. So
hey, it is.
I'll tell people, it sounds like maybe donations and stuff could help during the 9/11 walk, the stair walkathon, or maybe even helping with your Catalina Wine Mixer of the S.W.A.T Olympics and whatever else is to come. I know they can go to your website. You have the Valkyrie Tactical Solutions.com. You have Valkyrie Tactical Solutions probably on Instagram. People can go to check out photos of all the cool stuff you guys are doing. I'm just going to steer people towards there. I know you have a contact us page, and I'm sure there's a need our audience or us over here at the show could fill, and we'd love to just keep this like awesome relationship going, one veteran to another, one show to another business, and that's kind of what we want to do here. So thanks,
I appreciate it.
Thanks for being on the show. We appreciate it. Dude, this was more than I expected, hearing all the stuff you're doing, especially being a lieutenant, and then you have this, and then you have this, and then this, and then somehow you find 2 days off to spend time with your family, which blows my mind. So, dude.
But no, I appreciate it, man. Thank you. And
cheers to you. Cheers to your team over at Valkyrie, and cheers to all the veterans out there, man.